Welcome back to the Run the Numbers podcast, where I just learned it's a terrible idea to have a large peanut butter and jelly sandwich before hopping on the microphone. Peanut butter does, in fact, stick to the top of your mouth. If you're watching this on video right now, you'll notice two things about me. One, apparently my barber thought I asked to look like a state trooper. And two, I'm wearing my Get Shit Done shirt, GSD, courtesy of podcast guest, Bloomerang CFO Steve Isom, because I'm an honorary member. I get shit done. Hell yeah, FP&A for life, baby. Well, welcome back to Run the Numbers, and I want to open today's episode with a simple question. What if finding product market fit, PMF, isn't the hard part anymore? What if it's all about keeping it? What if keeping PMF is the real challenge? But before we jump into that, I want to talk about something that might not be as sexy, but it's incredibly strategic: your tax posture. You already know tax season isn't just a deadline, it's a lever. At Gelt, they work with CFOs who aren't just looking to stay compliant, they're looking to unlock strategic value from their tax position. Think optimized entity structures, real time visibility across complex ownership, and proactive tax planning that actually moves the needle on cash flow. And here's the thing: the tax landscape is changing fast, especially for high growth businesses, alternative investors, and companies juggling multi entity complexity. Whether you're preparing for a capital event, evaluating comp structures, or just avoiding nasty surprises, your tax strategy should be just as agile as the rest of your business. Gelt gives you quarterly strategy check-ins and proactive estimates, all designed to lower your effective tax rate, protect equity value, and drive long-term efficiency. You get direct access to your Gelt CPA and a clean, modern platform to track it all. Learn if you qualify at go.joingelt.com/mostlymetrics. That's go.joingelt.com/mostlymetrics. You can get the link in the show notes and schedule a call to learn more. All right, back to the chaos that is keeping product market fit in 2025. And so we've all read the essays and heard the founders talk about what PMF feels like. So quantitatively, it's a retention curve, net dollar retention. And those magical moments when users yank the product out of your hands before it's even finished are kind of the qualitative description. So like you'll know it when you have it, right? Customers are just pulling the product out of your hands. But lately, I've been thinking product market fit has become more fragile, more fleeting, and honestly harder to hold onto than ever before. And this was inspired by Harry Stebbings, who had a great 20 VC episode with Jason Lemkin and Rory O'Driscoll of Scale, where they hit on this exact point. So Jason was describing that once upon a time, if you hit PMF and had a decent team, you were like good for 5 years. And then around year 3 or 4, you'd start incubating a second product to what they call jump a new S curve, right? Expand your TAM, add a new product, move to different geographies, but basically extend your growth runway and keep that momentum going. Now, picture this: the classic S curve. It starts with a grind, early adopters, lots of iteration. Then comes that magical inflection point, and boom, hockey stick growth. Growth is just ripping. If you've been there, you know what it feels like. And you ride that wave until it flattens out. Sometimes it flattens out around 20 million. Sometimes it flattens out about 50. Sometimes you get through 100 million. And that's that classic T2D3, triple, triple, double, double, double. And your market matures, competition creeps in, but you had time. You could breathe, hire, plan the next move. But what we're seeing now is this different beast. These AI native companies are obliterating those classic timelines. Some are hitting 50 million, 100 million, even 200 million in revenue within 2 years. That's nuts. So now just visualize a graph where the S curve, it just looks like it's been put on fast forward. The ramp is like literally vertical and there's no curve. It's just a launch. It's just straight up and to the right. But we're also seeing companies lose product market fit just as fast. And so Rory remarked on the podcast that he's seen companies fall in and out of product market fit 3 times in 2 years. That's nuts. So what used to be a 5-year moat can now vanish in like 5 weeks. And the kicker is that a lot of these companies haven't even been around long enough to test the physics of these enterprise renewal cycles. They haven't faced real churn yet. They haven't hit the wall at 18 months. So let's imagine a second graph. The product market fit doesn't just shoot up and plateau. It spikes, it dips, it recovers a bit, then dips again. So it's volatile. It's like a startup trying to snowboard on a trampoline or something like that. And it got me thinking about escape velocity. That old, like I said, triple, triple, double, double, double path to 100 million. And it used to earn you the right to become the incumbent. And Jam and Ball talked about this on Clouded Judgment recently. And I thought it was an astute point that it's harder to judge if a company truly has hit escape velocity or if they just caught what some are calling a sugar high or a strong tailwind. And so I run a lot of road races in my spare time. And it all reminded me of a concept that runners know too well. It's called the false peak. And there was this one race last year around mile 6.6 out of a 9-mile race. You were dead tired and you think you've reached the summit. And so you dig deep, you're like, I see it, and you push through, only to round the bend and get over the top. And you see another hill. It's like a hill on top of a hill. So it's a hill to a small plateau to another hill. So mile 7 to 7.25 was like absolutely pure agonizing pain because I adrenaline dumped to get up the first hill. And so I pulled the elevation map from that race and like I felt like throwing up just looking at it again. And a lot of times you may compare this to what PMF feels like these days. And you think you made it only to find another climb or a valley in between. And that volatility, I think it's draining the alpha out of the room. So alpha is how to beat the market. It's that extra squeeze. Beta is the amount that the market will move, kind of almost like what the entire market is doing in general, and you're not going above it. And so for investors, operators, and marketers who are looking for channels of distribution, I think finding a real edge is harder than ever. So investors are crowding into the same deals at the same time. Vertical software was so sexy just 2 years ago, right? But now everybody's there. Employees are chasing the same rocket ship logos, some of which won't even be around next year, even though this year they're the headlines everywhere. And marketers are fighting for scraps and channels that saturate overnight. And so I texted this buddy who works at a growth fund who's focused on vertical SaaS. He's had a ton of success there. And he was in Austin doing due diligence. And I said, hey man, searching for vertical software arbitrage? And I'm half joking there. And he said, fucking right, but I'm not seeing any arbitrage here. And I was like, really? No sleepy HVAC workflow or car wash CRM hiding in plain sight? And he said a lot of, quote, you're the fifth firm to come see us this week. Ouch. So the game hasn't changed, but the pace, it's completely different. That has changed. So the windows to win are tighter. The floors drop faster. And if you think about keeping PMF, it's not just hard. I think that's now the whole damn ball game. So thanks for joining me on this episode. Hopefully I find a new barber.